HBCU.
They know just who we are.
Pulse Radio.
Before we close out, I want to raise awareness on a confluence of events that could possibly affect Florida A&M University. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has waged a war on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives at the state's public higher education institutions. Last July, I wrote an article on HBCUPulse.com doing a deep dive on the, quote, Stop Woke Act and how he wanted to use the law to take control of Florida's public colleges and universities. Woke in this context stands for Stop the Wrongs to Our Kids and Employees. In my article from last summer, I spoke about the draft legislation that was uncovered by independent journalist Jason Garcia that put a large amount of power in the hands of DeSantis and his political appointees. I spoke about this draft legislation and how it would allow the state legislator to veto proposed budgets and even cut funding if the state deems the public college or university isn't following their outlined rules. The most alarming part I found in this draft legislation is that it strips power from the presidents of public colleges and universities in Florida and grants the board of trustees for these institutions the power to hire and fire professors. This is concerning because the state government already has oversight of Florida's public colleges and universities board of trustees. Although each institution has their own board of trustees, these boards are under the jurisdiction of a statewide board of governors where the governor, at this point DeSantis, appoints 14 of the 17 members. So taking power from the president for key university functions effectively would allow DeSantis control of the functions of the colleges and universities. Well, the draft legislation that I talked about last summer looks to now be set to turn into law. House Bill 999, if passed, would take effect July 1st. It seems as if DeSantis can't wait for the bill to be passed, like a kid on Christmas Eve that can't wait to open their presents. DeSantis recently appointed 6 new members to the Board of Trustees at liberal arts institution New College of Florida. Immediately after the new Board of Trustee members were named, they fired the president, Patricia Acker. Chris Rufo, one of DeSantis' appointees to the Board of Trustees, said that there would be a, quote, top-down restructuring and that a new curriculum would be created from scratch. The board just recently voted to abolish the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. Hundreds of New College of Florida students have protested these moves by the board, and an op-ed in Teen Vogue by 2 New College of Florida professors says that, quote, what the DeSantis administration is trying to do, in brief, is force a conservative Christian model of education onto our public college, attempting to choke out hard-won academic freedom. This, admittedly, is frightening. Leaders using their political power to take control of a public institution is something I never would have imagined. However, we're here. And now we need to stay focused on what the possible passage of House Bill 999 could mean for Florida A&M University, the only public HBCU in the state of Florida. Now, let me be clear. There's nothing overtly that says FAMU will be targeted. And I'm confident in FAMU's alumni and student body's ability to mobilize politically to stop any rash actions by the state, just as they did to stop talks of the merger with Florida State in 1967 that we talked about at the top of the show. Also, several portions of the Stop Woke Act were blocked in court last November, and House Bill 999 could be subjected to the same action as well if passed. But this is a concerning trend that's worth note. The fact that our public HBCUs are vulnerable to political attacks due to our historical mission to uplift Black students scares me. What scares me even more is that it seems as if we can't prevent what could possibly come, but we can't stop our fight. We have to continue to advocate and shed light on what's happening. There's power in our voice, and there's power in bringing attention to affronts on the sustainability of our institutions. And more than anything, this has to be our wake-up call to vote in local and state elections. We have to put leaders in office that can properly advocate for our issues and always act in the interest of the people. We'll keep you updated on House Bill 999 and what's to come in the future on HBCUPulse.com.
Like what you hear?
Yeah.
Subscribe to HBCU Pulse Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, head to HBCUPulse.com to stay up to date on what's going on in the HBCU community. Thank you for listening to HBCU Pulse Radio.